So for essay 3, you're going to analyze news media. And what that means is that you're going to pick a single news story, one thing that's happened that people are reporting on, or one issue or one topic that people are reporting on, right? And then you're going to research how that story has been covered across a range of news media outlets, different channels, different papers, different websites that have covered the same story. Does that make sense, you guys? Thank you, Virginia. I appreciate your responses. Jenny, were you going to say something? Your box lit up. It's the only way I know you're even there. Okay, you know what? Let me stop sharing here so I can see you all better. There, that's better. Okay, so give me some examples of a news story that would work for this assignment, given the short explanation I just gave you. Okay, you're going to pick one news story that you will research how it was covered across a range of different media outlets, like different TV news channels, different newspapers, different news websites. Give me an example of a story. A single news story. You can type in chat, you can raise your hand if you want to speak and you don't want to risk speaking over someone else. You can unmute yourself and use your voice. What's an example of a single news story? Nobody knows? That's concerning. If nobody has any idea what I'm talking about, that's concerning. This is going to be a hard assignment for you guys. Steve, what's a single news story that you can think of, a specific one?
Maybe what was going on like around March. So
Steve, I
like
can
Black.
barely hear you. Can you?
Can you hear me now?
I still can't hear you. I can hear that you're speaking, but I can't tell what you're saying. And I don't believe it's my computer. Let me see. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you better. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Um, Maybe like something that was going on in the beginning of the year, so like the Black Lives Matter protests, an article about that.
Yes, the Black Lives Matter protests. Okay, and that would work, even though I know there were a lot of them. Okay, you could pick one that was like there's, you guys, oh my God, they've been protesting in Portland for like 150 days every single night. Did you guys know this? Have you heard about what's going on in Portland? No, nobody's heard.
No.
Okay, thank you for responding, Yesenia. I appreciate that. Even if the answer's no, that just lets me know you heard me and you're there. Okay, yeah, okay, so in Portland, they have been protesting downtown every day for like 120 days, you guys, since George Floyd was murdered. Okay, and George Floyd was murdered. Okay, it's not allegedly or none of that crap. He was murdered. We all saw it, or one can see it. Okay, that guy was killed. Okay, so that you could focus on that one, or you could just focus on the protests in general. You could focus on the murder of George Floyd and its aftermath even more generally. How was the murder of George Floyd covered? You could focus on that. Okay, and then, or you could focus on the protests that followed that and how everybody has been talking about and responding to those protests. Okay, and you could find that story being covered across a wide range of national news media, either TV, print, digital media. Okay, what are some other examples of news stories you guys can think of that would work for this assignment? Hi, Elizabeth. We're talking about essay 3, okay? And essay 3 is going to be an analysis of news media framing, how the news media decides to report on the stories that it reports on, how it frames them. Okay, we were talking about different news stories that you could pick for essay 3. For essay 3, you need to pick a single news story. Oh, Virginia said COVID-19. Yes, Virginia, that would work. Coronavirus as a topic, how it's being talked about in the news media, how it's being covered. Okay, what are some others? Those two are pretty dominant, aren't they? I don't know, I'm finding it hard to think about anything else. Those two things and then the election are pretty dominant in my consciousness right now. Okay, so you could focus on, you know, the debate. All right, the Harris-Pence debate. How was that covered? You could focus on the first and so far only presidential debate between Biden and Trump and how that was covered in the news media. Okay, so does that make sense? You're not talking about the debate itself. You're talking about the reporting on the debate, how the news media covered it. Okay, any questions about that? Marcella, do you have a good idea of what I'm talking about in terms of picking a news story?
Yes.
Okay, and Alexandra, how about you? Does that make sense, what I've said so far, what we've said about picking a story?
Yes.
Okay, Jenny, you good? I'm calling on you because you guys aren't responding.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, how about you, Daniela?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, let me go back to sharing my screen then. We'll talk about this. 6.2 assignment. Okay, so that's the essay 3 assignment. And to get ready to do that assignment, first you're going to watch a documentary called Outfoxed. Has anybody seen that movie before, or that documentary Outfoxed?
No.
No, thank you for responding. It's pretty old, you guys. I'm going to tell you it's pretty old. It was produced in 2004, okay? And the period of time that it focuses on is primarily the period leading up to the election of 2004. And since it's so far in the past now, I'll just tell you guys, that was Bush W, okay, versus John Kerry. John Kerry was the Democrat, and George W. Bush was running for his second term as president. The first time he ran against Al Gore in the year 2000. And that election is touched on in this documentary, but most of its examples come from the period leading up to the 2004 election. So that's the time frame, okay, just for context. All right, and you know, it focuses on Fox News and Fox News coverage as a specific example. That's why we're watching it, because the documentary itself, Outfoxed, does a kind of news framing analysis, which is what you guys are going to do for essay 3. You're going to analyze the way the news media frames its reporting on stories. And the documentary analyzes the way Fox News frames its reporting on stories. And as you guys may already know, I hope you do, Fox News, quite obviously, okay, this is not debatable, this is just a fact. Fox News covers the news from a conservative political position. All of their framing is done for the explicit purpose of presenting the news in a way that will support a conservative viewpoint on what's happening. Okay, so that is viewpoint framing, and that's one of the things you're going to read about in chapter 6 and 7. Chapter 6 is about opinions, and chapter 7 is about viewpoints. okay? And the thing about news framing that is viewpoint framing at all, whether it's conservative or liberal, is that the news media isn't supposed to be framing from a political viewpoint. Okay? The news media is supposed to be objective, right? Traditionally, it has always been objective. Do you guys know what I mean? Okay, this is about that. This 6.2 lecture is about that, about how the news media is supposed to be independent and accountable. The news media is supposed to be objective. It's not supposed to be supporting any particular viewpoint, whether it's a political viewpoint or whether it's just, you know, a economic agenda that people have. Okay, it's supposed to be objective. Its job, the news media's job in our democracy, is to provide citizens with objective information about things that matter, about issues that are going to impact on their lives, about things that have happened that are going to impact on their lives in a way that just gives the audience information. That's what a report is. If you're asked as a student to write a report, okay, what you're being asked to do is inform your audience. Okay, just tell them what's going on. Maybe you're informing them about political viewpoints, right? But your job is not to persuade the audience. Your job is not to make an argument. And that's the media's job. The media's job is not to make an argument. The media's job is just to inform. Okay, so this talks about that and gives some examples of how that has become problematic recently in the last, and when I say recently, I'm talking about in the last couple decades. Not in the last couple years. But if you look at old clips of journalists on TV, like Walter Cronkite is the iconic example of this, right? Guys, he reported on the death of Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated, as you guys know, and you could barely tell he cared. His voice kind of broke at the end of his report, right? But for the most part, he showed very little emotion about that thing that happened. And that was a national tragedy. Okay? Everybody was grieving when that happened. Okay? But Cronkite was such a pro, you could barely tell he cared until the end of his report. That's the template for journalism. Okay? You're not supposed to be letting other people know what your view is about anything. And Fox News is like the antithesis of that. Okay, we always know what Fox News reporters know about the issues that think about the issues they're reporting on. All right, and that's bad. That's a violation of journalistic integrity. Okay, so that's what all this stuff in 6.2 is about. It's not about Fox News mostly. It's about journalism broadly. Journalism and the line between news and information. All right, so you got to read all of this. Read it all. This talks about news framing. Chapter 7 talks a little bit about news framing. All right, so this gives you the concept for essay 3 and news framing analysis. Okay, let me check my schedule here again. All right, let's see, do you have to pick a story yet? No, not yet. Topic selection is next week. Okay, so that's all I need to say about the general assignment right now. Let's take a look at some of these other things you need to do between now and when I see you again. Okay, first off, look at 6.2. All right, and I'll put this in here and I'll send out an announcement about this. I meant to revise this before today, but I'm so caught up grading essays. I'm grading English 1A essays right now, you guys. And it's a slog, let me tell you. Takes a long time. Okay, I gotta move my chat window so I can see my screen. Let me go back home here. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to do is read that. 6.2. Let me close this. Right there, the introduction. All right, and then you're gonna do these things. Hopefully you'll do this chapters 9 and 11 quizzes before you watch the documentary. Okay, if you don't do the quizzes and submit them before you watch the documentary, at least skim through this chapter, the chapters 9 and 11 in your textbook, Thinking for Yourself, because they're all about fallacies. All right, and I'm assuming that many of you are already familiar with the concept of a fallacy because you're English 2 students. I'm sure you've been introduced to it before, but these chapters go into it in more detail in a way that will help you recognize the fallacies that are being committed on the part of Fox News. And that's one of the questions you need to answer about the documentary is what fallacies did you see? So you want to refamiliarize yourself with the basic fallacies, things like ad hominem, which is a Latin term that it literally means to the man. And an ad hominem fallacy, and fallacies are errors in reasoning, as you probably know. Chapters 9 and 11 explain that. Okay, but the ad hominem fallacy is a fallacy. It's bad reasoning because it makes an argument about a person, okay, rather than an issue. So an ad hominem fallacy is a fallacy that attacks someone personally. Sometimes it's also called personal attack. In fact, I think that's how the book refers to it. I think the book refers to it as personal attack. So that you're going after a person rather than their ideas. Okay, when there's a debate about an issue, you attack them personally, and then that distracts from the argument that needs to be taking place about the issue, right? And you'll see this on Fox News all over the place. You'll see this in our politics all over the place. Okay, Donald Trump in particular does the ad hominem fallacy. He attacks a person rather than engaging them on an issue. You can see this in the debate going on, where he's attacking Joe Biden personally, rather than answering the darn question that the moderator gave him. Oh, there goes my neck again. Oh, I can't wait for November 3rd. Hopefully it'll all be over, okay? So this is one of the things you need to do is 6.3, chapters 9 and 11, and it's a quiz. The quiz is in the book. It's not here. The quiz is in the book and this explains this. Just do the odd number questions. Now you can type them out and then upload that to this assignment. All right, let me go back. Hello, can I go back? I can't go back? Oh, I opened it in a new tab, so no, I can't go back. All right, let me close that. All right, and then you need to do this one right here. Okay, miscellaneous critical thinking concepts. This will also help you analyze the documentary, and it will help you analyze the news framing that you find when you do your research for Essay 3. Okay, let me open this one. Okay, here are the instructions. And for each, what these instructions explain is that for each of these items, there's a link that you go to and then read about the concept. This is the concept of a third person effect. What is that? Go to this link and you'll find out. Okay, then you summarize what you found out, what you learned about the third person effect in a few sentences at most. Okay, this is all about implicit bias. Okay, you can use these links, right, to help you understand implicit bias and then give your definition, your understanding of implicit bias to this assignment. And these are things you can type out and upload. Okay, or you can write them by hand and take a picture. Let me just make sure I made that possible. Yes, I did. Okay. This is all about gaslighting, which is one of this person's favorite argument techniques. All right. This tells you all about gaslighting. What are the signs that somebody is gaslighting you? All right. And there are 11 warning signs that someone is gaslighting you. And if you didn't know what gaslighting was before, once you learn about it, okay, you read these first and then watch this, right? And then you can make your own judgment about whether or not Donald Trump is a gaslighter. Okay, close that one. And then this is the film I was talking about. So 6.2 and 6.5 go together. And look, these are all due on the 19th, the day before our next class meeting. So you need to figure out how to budget your time. Okay, there's a substantial amount of work here. The documentary is an hour and 17 minutes long, I think. Let's open it and find out. Okay, and there it is right there. You can watch it right from here. Okay, you can play it and make it bigger. And there's the transcript for the documentary, right? Which is all the words that are said in the documentary and all of the stage directions that are given. Okay, and then this is, I have to move my Zoom window. These are the questions I was talking about. Okay, so you want to download and have these, read them first, and then have them alongside you so that when you hear the answers to these questions, you can take notes. You take notes on this piece of paper. All right, and then this is what you're going to submit to this assignment, your responses to these questions about this documentary. Okay, let me just test this out to make sure it works right now. Hello? Yes, it works. Wonderful. Okay, so there you go on that one. All right, and then that's it. Let's see, when's this due? This is due the 20th. When do we meet again, you guys? What's the date? Is it the 20th?
The 23rd, I believe.
23rd. Really? Okay. All right, and when's your SA2 due? Sorry. Like I said, I can't remember who's doing what when.
Is it due today?
I don't think, is
No.
it due tomorrow?
It's the
It's due
tonight.
today.
It's due tonight? Okay, and
Yes.
how are you with that? You feel comfortable with that? Here, let me stop sharing so I can see you all. You good to go on the SA2? If you've been keeping up with the process, you should be. It's not that big a paper, right? It's just 3 to 5 pages. You don't have to do any research for it. Are you all good? Do you want another day? No? All right then. Glad to hear it. Okay, so here, let me check my calendar. Oh, let me share my screen with you again so you can see what the hell I'm doing. Okay. Share screen. Okay, there's the calendar. All right, I could have just looked at this, sorry. I forgot. I could just look at this. Okay, so, oh, the 19th is Monday, Christ. Oop, I cussed in Zoom. Yeah, All right, the 22nd. Oh, I got to get rid of that. Just ignore that. You guys can't see that anyway. Oh, there's another assignment you need to do before we meet. Okay. All right. I will rethink those deadlines. All right. As I said, that's a lot. Okay. Here, let me keep that up. Keep that calendar up. Oh, it is up. I haven't had my coffee yet. Okay. So we're right here. Ah, all right, we're meeting on the 23rd. Okay, so let's see, we've talked about all of this stuff. Now we need to talk about this stuff. Okay, especially this one, the discovery exercise. All right, and this is not as complicated as it sounds, you'll see. Sorry for all the clicking around. Okay, this is a discussion forum for talking about the film. You guys know how to participate in a discussion forum, and there are instructions in there. All right, let me open this one. Okay, so this one, okay, gives you a PDF. Let's just take a look at that. Okay, so what you're going to do here is after reading chapters 6 and 7, you're going to do this discovery exercise, which is in the book, but I give you all the instructions you need here. Okay, The guidelines are on 1 to 6 on page 208, but they're in this PDF right here. And here's a sample of this assignment that you can look at to get an idea of what you're trying to do here or what you're being asked to do. Okay, let me open this PDF. Okay, so there's page 207 in your book. And I've blocked out the parts of it that I want you to do. So as I said, just use this, this PDF as your instructions. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to choose one publication from each of these 4 highlighted categories. You can find it online. They'll have websites. And then you're going to scan the table of contents at that website. Look at some articles and ads and analyze them according to the guidelines 1 through 6 on 208 to 209. And those are right here. Okay, don't do this. Hopefully that's clear. Do this. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. Okay? Is that clear so far, you guys? You're going to pick one from each of these 4. So you're going to get 4 different websites for online publications, news magazines. All right, and you're going to analyze them in order to note the differences of each of their beliefs, issues of concern, and rhetoric, the language that they use. All right, because language conveys viewpoint. All right, and each of these is coming from a particular political viewpoint. If you look at page 208 in your book, it gives you a list, if you're not already familiar, with the breakdown in this country of political viewpoints between liberal and conservative. I think it's page 208. Page 208 gives you that. Oh, no, it doesn't. Page 206, sorry. Page 206 gives you a breakdown in your book. Here, where's my book? Let's see if I can show it to you guys. Here's my book. Let me stop sharing. I'll show you my book. See, page 206, 206. There it is. Okay. I know it's backwards, but can you guys see that? It's 2 columns on page 206, liberal and conservative viewpoints. Okay, just to give you a general sense of what the 2 sides are. And these are moderate liberal viewpoints and moderate conservative viewpoints, but there's a spectrum, and the book has a line graph in it too. The spectrum, there's all kinds of stuff in the middle, and then there's all kinds of stuff on the extreme ends of generally conservative and generally liberal. There's extreme conservative, neo-conservative, okay? There's progressive, right? Which is to the left of liberal. Okay, so let me share my screen again with you. And that's what these categories reflect. Left progressive is to the left of liberal. Left centrist is right in the center. Okay, neoconservative is extreme conservative, and then this is just basic conservative. Left centrist is liberal. Okay, another word for liberal. All right. Does that all make sense, you guys? What you're doing for this assignment 6.8? Okay, you're going to take notes on how they differ in beliefs, issues of concern, and rhetoric. And that's the language they use, as I said, to convey value and or belief assumptions. Okay, and as I said, there's an example in this assignment. Thank you, Marcella, for the thumbs up. And anybody else who gave me one that I couldn't see. Because Zoom is super awkward. We're going to be in here for a long time, you guys, I'm afraid, because our government doesn't care that we have to be in Zoom. Okay, let's see. Anything else? I think we've covered it. We've covered everything I want to talk to you about. All righty. Sorry, I'm a little brain dead this morning because I haven't had my coffee. I'm not sleeping well. It's too hot. So that's why I'm sort of hemming and hawing and somewhat disorganized. Okay, yeah, I think I talked about everything that I need to talk about. So you guys can just go off and finish your, and I'll fiddle with these deadlines. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking when I made all of these due on Monday. Okay, try to get them done. I'll probably extend the deadline on these things. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to highlight that. On these things until Tuesday or maybe Wednesday. Okay. Like I said, this documentary is an hour and a half long. So you're going to need to spend some time on it. Okay. And like I said, you can I'll make these due. I'll make this one due. I'll make this one and this one due Tuesday. Okay. I'll give you another day on that one. And then I'll make all of these due Thursday right before class. Alrighty. Okay. Anyway, I don't need to keep you on the hook while I figure that out. I can let you go. All right, let me stop sharing. Any questions, you guys, about any of that stuff?
No.
No? Okay. And we'll talk about all that stuff in email. I mean, excuse me, not in email. In class next week. All righty. Get a hold of me if you run into any trouble with SA2 or anything else. Okay? Let me go ahead and end this meeting and go have some coffee. Bye-bye. See you next week.